Hello everyone, my name is Will and we're gonna get started on the VP3 framework. I'm excited to tell you about this today because it's the $100 million framework. You can literally solve any problem in your business with this one framework. So we're gonna jump in and we're gonna talk about it from start to finish. So the very first thing that we want to look at is our vision. And the reason we want to look at our vision first is because it actually cascades all the decisions that we need to make in the business afterwards. If your vision is to have a massive office where you can play foosball with your buddies, then you're probably not going to want to outsource every single person on your team. If you really don't like technology and you wish we were more old school and analog and you want to be able to network freely, probably not going to leverage technology in every single thing you do. So that vision becomes the crux of how we make the decisions later on in the business, and it puts us in a position to where we can have the level of success that is aligned with ourselves and the vision that we had when we started. Most of us might start a business because we see a problem, and then second, we want to make money. But later on, you forget about the money part because once you reach that certain amount, then it fades into the background and your focus becomes, am I fulfilled? Do I enjoy the work that I'm doing? And so your vision being front and center from the start allows you to scale the company faster, allows you to align your operation in a lot better way. So the next piece is going to be looking at kind of this triad diagram here. And we're going to start at the top because in my opinion, no matter what type of business you're in, people are the most important. And so they're at the top because you need to make sure that you have people who are aligned with your vision. And if people are at the top of the business, we'll talk about how we go about that, what all is in the people category. But then let's keep introducing it here. The process is going to be all of the different things that you do in the business. So how do you promote it? What do you do? What is the actual service or product? And so everyone has SOPs or trainings that they think about. That's the first thing that comes to mind. But we have an A to Z process. Even the video you're watching requires us to film it, but most likely before that, plan it. And then afterwards, we have to edit it, we have to publish it, and then we have to go and talk about it or promote it. And that short life cycle creates a process. And if it isn't aligned to our vision, then we're gonna have a problem. So the next thing is promotion. Ultimately, we, even if it's word of mouth, have to grow the business because there's only two states that you can be in. You're either growing or you're dying, declining. And I know that sounds a little dramatic, but at the end of the day, the business needs to be growing. I mean, even with inflation, at a certain point, you have to grow X%, otherwise you're starting to lag behind. Now, maybe you're offsetting because later on you know there's gonna be a huge upside. A lot of us that go into a full-time role or we exit into it, it starts as a side hustle, becomes our full-time gig, or whatever your story is, you gave up some income and took on more risk so that you could have an opportunity to be an entrepreneur. And so that promotion piece becomes critical because eventually we run out of the goodwill and word of mouth, and we need more. We need billboards, we need TV spots, we need paid advertising, email marketing, all of the things that starts to make up that promotional outfit. Now, as we look at the overlapping areas here, right around here on the screen, you'll see the overlap of people and process. Now, what's cool about this is when your process and your people are both aligned, you can have the best outcomes in the business. So let's take an example. Let's say that I'm a plumber and I have a really good process for fixing a sink. And I have a really good person on my team that I trust to execute that process. Well, most likely, not only will the sink get fixed, it won't be re-damaged, and the consumer at the end of the day, the homeowner, is totally satisfied with the job because of the start to finish process that was followed to make sure that that was taken care of. Now, we've all had that situation where someone leaves dirt behind, and that is a bad process, right? If your car is dirtier than when you dropped it off for maintenance, then that's a sign of a bad process. It should always be better than how you had it before. Otherwise, why would you do it? So the same thing happens in our business. We have to have a process aligned to people to create the outcome. The next one is reliability. So reliability is where process and promotion overlap. And that overlapment is so important because there is a thing that most people chase, which is predictability and growth. They want to scale their business by putting this much into the machine and getting this much out, and they want it to be reliable and endless so that, well, they can accomplish their financial goals. And although that sounds comfortable and great, it requires a really, really good understanding of your process and a really good understanding of your market. Those two things don't typically coexist because people who are good at promotion aren't always good at process. So you end up with reliability being the key component there. And finally, you have the overlap of people and promotion. This is where your delivery actually comes into play. If you were to get on a call with me and we were to talk about your operations, and we're putting that into the perspective of done for you operations in your business, and I said, we do everything, all you have to do is promote. That's probably unrealistic. If you believed me and you thought it was a good idea to sign up and proceed, then what ends up happening is now my people on my team need to deliver that expectation. And so whatever I sell you, if there's a mismatch to whatever is delivered, then that delivery box ends up eroding. When it erodes, there's no coming back. I can't rebuild the trust with you. I have to reset expectations, which is way harder than if we were to just promote the right thing to begin with and set the right expectations out of the gate. And that too goes to if I'm selling a highly technological product, I wouldn't go to a market that doesn't value technology. Same thing. That's where product market fit oftentimes comes into play. So as we look at this whole VP3 framework, if you didn't notice by now, the V stands for vision, and then there are 3 Ps, which are people, process, and promotion. Now, to take this a step further, we have to really think about what success looks like. So in the case of people, this is about culture. That's how we're making sure that it ties back to vision. This is your vision statement, your mission, your core values. And these aren't just things that you kind of slap on a wall. If they are, then that's pretty much how you're valuing your vision today. But if you're actually practicing your core values, then you're saying my vision is important enough for us to be able to talk about it regularly. And when you talk about it regularly, guess what? It typically gets fulfilled better. So then you go to the next piece, which is the process portion. Now, process is basically the fort that you're building around your vision to protect it from outside forces. And so if you have really solid processes, you get better continuity, you get better consistency in your vision. So anybody who has ever experienced an inconsistent vision, it looks like shiny object syndrome, right? There's no process to hold you down to earth. So you're constantly looking at this and looking at that, and you're trying this promotion mechanism and that promotion mechanism, and you're not getting traction because your process isn't creating alignment to your vision. So for us, we work a lot with joint ventures because we felt like if we were going to help businesses with their operation, then the way we would do it is we would partner with people who already operate businesses and have other people who it benefits them to have a better operating business. So if you're a marketing agency and we help better operate the business, well, you have a better client because their operation is better. So that is aligned to our vision, to our outcome, and then that automatically fills in some of that promotion stuff for us. It makes it a lot easier. Because oftentimes now we see marketing messages that say, this is dead, you should do this, or don't do this, do that. But in reality, billboards still work. That's why the vacancy in billboards isn't exactly crazy, right? A lot of businesses still use billboards. They still use flyers. That's why you still get stuff in your mailbox. So at the end of the day, anything can work, but if it's not aligned to that vision, then how do we tie that back into promotion? Well, you see the word project there. And so you're probably thinking what does that mean? Will, what are you talking about? And I think the thing to remember with project is that promotion is not going to be evergreen no matter what. We don't live in a high attention world anymore. People's attention span are fading. And because they're fading, we have to make sure that we're always launching some sort of project around our promotion. Now, it could be a small project. I have a flyer that I send in the mail and it works and I get tree services jobs out of that. I need to change the flyer. By changing the flyer, now you can split test and you can do a lot more from a process standpoint to make sure that you're maximizing your promotion. But you should have some sort of way to tie those projects back into your vision, making sure that your promotion that you're doing is always tied back to that vision, because it's the thing that I see most with businesses that get malaligned to the vision. The promotion goes all over the place, especially in economic recessions or any type of business hardship. People get desperate. And so they do desperate things. They get outside of the alignment of the vision. They don't have a project mindset for how they promote. And that ends up costing them in the long run. So how would we use something like this to triage the business? Well, at the end of the day, we need a KPI or a key performance indicator to help us understand exactly what we need to do. So for culture, at any point in time, you should be able to look at the person that you hired and say, would I hire that person again? And out of a week, out of a month, out of a quarter, if you're thinking more often, no, I wouldn't, they need to go. And most of the time, the sooner the better. Flip side, if you look at your process, that is a direct reflection of your margin, because process is an efficiency metric. So when your business is highly efficient, and I'm not talking about specific intentional tax strategy, I'm talking about instances where you are using process to drive profitability. So if you know that the benchmark in your industry is 20% profit, or maybe it's 60% profit, it doesn't matter as long as the profit that you're getting is aligned to your vision, but also that your process isn't sloppy. The sloppier your process, the less documented. If you have no SOPs, which is a standard operating procedure, or don't even know what that is, that's going to be really hard for you to be able to drive a high margin business, right? Unless your value is in your relationships and that's all you're doing is making a connection, right? A lot of times sales, you can be somewhat sloppy as long as you're persistent, but that's not always the case for an actual business that's trying to scale. And so then what is the KPI for promotion? Well, it's testimonials, it's feedback. You see, when someone says to you that they would recommend you to a friend, that's putting their reputation on the line, and it's saying that what they sold me was delivered upon, and I'm satisfied enough to share my experience. So the testimonial is the ultimate KPI for your actual service delivery, promotion, etc. So those three KPIs, net margin or net income, testimonials, and basically would you hire them again, feels subjective on the people side, but we can get into that in another video. And then finally, like, what are the tactical things down at the bottom level for what you should be thinking about inside of people, promotion, and process? And so for people, it's really about mindset. You know, how are people showing up, right? We're in a remote work environment more often than not now. And if they're remote, are they efficient? Are they self-disciplined? Are they motivated to get work done without you prompting them and nagging them or micromanaging them? Because ultimately, your vision is probably not to wake up and micromanage a bunch of people. So how do you create a culture, which would be your core values and all of those components? How do you hire? Because it always starts with who you hire. How do you retain? How do you promote? All those things are in that people bucket. And then what do you do from a process and people overlap? You train. You create trainings, right? And trainings are really designed for mental modeling, right? They're not necessarily showing you a step-by-step. That's more of a standard operating procedure. The training is really to teach thought processes and how you might approach a problem. Now, as you go into process, this is where you're like doing goal setting, or you're setting your standards, you're building standard operating procedures, you're deciding on your tech stack. A lot of those kind of things sit in that process bucket. And then again, while you're driving reliability, this is where data management comes into play. As you go over to promotion, this is where you have your price, the content that you promote, right? So, hey, this is a YouTube video. This is content, right? This allows us to get to know each other. There isn't any pressure here, and it's comfortable for both of us. Well, at least most of the time it's comfortable for me. But at the end of the day, the lead generation piece is important, right? Paid ads, your actual offer, the sales process you go through, your email marketing, all of the tactical layers there sit in that promotion bucket. Now, that delivery overlap, actually on the slide, you'll see kind of offer and service offer down here. So the difference there is like promotion really does, it contains your offer. But to me, it's in a service-based business, the delivery of the offer is basically a collaboration between the people and the promotion, right? To come to consensus of your people are excited to deliver this, and you know you can deliver it in the market, and you know you can sell it, right? And that alignment will really go a long way. Now, with that said, I think that kind of brings us to a really healthy stopping point on the VP3 framework. This gives us a really nice foundation to be able to take these concepts and apply them to the business in future videos, where we get way deeper into the weeds and actually show you how to build SOPs, how to build OKRs, and how to think about hiring processes. So that's going to really take you to the next level, but we wanted to set the foundation. And from here, all I have to say is onward and upward, my friends. See you later.